look what we're talking about today.
These are gorgeous. So these are dahlias, and that is our subject for today. They have gotten so popular.
They have.
Is there something that you can point to for their popularity? I mean, other than the obvious that they're very pretty.
I think that a lot of people that are just starting to garden love that they have those great big beautiful blooms.
Yeah.
And they were really popular in wedding work and in arrangements, kind of giving more of that very natural type look to it instead of the solid like rose or carnation.
Yeah, something a little bit different. So you worked a lot with them in the floral shop.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's because they can be a cut flower.
They can be.
Yeah. So.
But there's so many beautiful colors.
Yes.
And there's different sizes. There's so many sizes.
Big variety. Yes.
You go from the short compact ones like this white one here to something like this. It's called Miss Mandy, and it gets much taller.
Yeah, look how tall that is. Just maybe.
It is, but it's in this little pot, and I'll show you later. It has a lot of growth down there.
It needs a home.
It does.
That's not its forever home.
No,
for sure.
And then you have the great big dinner plate size, and those are the dahlias where the blooms are like literally the size of a dinner plate.
Yeah.
Where it gets its name from. So we're going to talk about the dahlias as far as care, and we know all they're beautiful, they'll look great in arrangements, but what are some of the downsides and how do we care for them so that they do stay looking good all year?
Well, one of the first upsides of this, and because this is such a popular topic, is the pollinators. The pollinators absolutely love dahlias. So if you want to draw in those butterflies and bees and those pollinators, they love the dahlias. So that's a strong case to plant these. I mean, other than the prettiness, but let's talk a little bit about some of that care.
Yes.
First off, so they're not a shade plant. They do need that bright sunshine, about 6+ hours a day. So make sure that where you're putting them, they're going to get that full-on sunlight. They can take a little bit less, but
they do best in the more sun.
Yeah, they do very well in that.
And watering, if they're in a container, you need to be careful.
Yeah, this one gets me, man. And I learned from my mistakes, and especially the last couple of years, boy, I had to learn to go easy on the watering. They do like to be moist, not soggy. And where I will off a bunch of dahlias is when I overwater them. And
it might be if you have a bunch of them, they might just drink at different times. So you might have just one that just...
They do, and I use my eyes to kind of look at that soil and see what that soil looks like. If it's dark brown, I just pass right over. But if I see if it's a light, and you're like, okay, I can tell that soil is dried out,
and that's years of experience.
Yeah, and it's not easy to do when you have hundreds or thousands of dahlias sitting side by side. It's really hard to do, but I have tried to learn to go easy on the watering with the dahlias in containers, because they will give up the ghost real easily if they're soggy,
and they take a long time to get. And
Yeah.
we're going to talk about it because we talk about a lot about watering because that's so important. But there is a meter. Think of it as like a gas meter, and you have moderately moist, and then you have soggy, wet, and then you have bone dry, and you need to be
somewhere in the middle.
Somewhere
consistently in the middle with that, and don't overdo it. If you're going to err on the side of going a little bit drier, they will wilt down if they get too dry, but they'll wilt down if they're sitting soggy wet. So you just need to be able to read that, and you kind of really want to be right down the middle with dahlias.
Yep.
They're a little fussy on that end. Yeah.
Fertilizing?
They're heavy feeders.
Because they're heavy bloomers.
Yeah.
They bloom a lot.
So you can fertilize at least once a week with the BYN Fertilizer. They are heavy feeders. They will take the nutrients as they get it, and they'll perform fabulously with it, because they need the nutrients to flower and to grow, to have that nice green dark foliage. You know that it's getting the nutrients, and when they're blooming, they're producing blooms.
I'm going to show them this. Can you put this? Actually, that yellow one that's right next to you on the table. There you go.
That one needs a little
Yeah, we're going to talk about what is the care of them on just like the deadheading portion, because you should deadhead them. And you can see on this white one, do you see there's a brand new one coming? Nope, that's not. This would be a brand new one coming out. This is a spent bloom, and this is a spent bloom. The new ones coming out look like a little ball hanging off.
Yeah, you got to kind of check, because this one's done. You can see that the inside is kind of brownish.
Do you see that?
There's an obvious difference that it's done versus it's just coming out and it's brand new. So take a look at that. But
this is a great example.
They definitely do need deadheading, and it's not as easy as just plucking off a petunia head.
Yeah, you're not gonna. Most of the times, you're not gonna use your fingers.
They're tough. So you're not gonna, unless you got really good fingernails, which I do not. It's tough to get through that stem. It's almost woody. It's kind of dense.
And if you try to just do it by your hand, you're probably gonna rip a lot of your.
You're gonna do a lot more damage.
Yeah.
So use a shears or a scissors. That's what we do with the dahlias. And I'm just gonna go through and cut down as far as I can. You want to grab that just so I can show. So cutting that off just like that is going to keep them looking happy. So there's a few on here, and just double checking, because there's a lot of brand new buds on here that I don't want to trim off the wrong ones. This is obvious. You can see the brown on there. That's done. That's spent. So we're going to get rid of those. But there are lots of little buds in here that are ready to pop.
Everyone's going to ask. Your clippers.
Yeah, these are from Dram. Dram is a great, fantastic.
We'll just get that out of the way.
Company about an hour and a half down the road. So Dram is big in the horticulture industry. These are nice little quality shears. So little Dram shears. But anyway, so trimming those up and deadheading. Yep, I'm gonna take those off. It also early on, if you want the dahlias to really bush out, go ahead and give them a good trim to try to force that new growth.
Can you bring out Miss Mandy again?
Yes.
So this dahlia, the name is Miss Mandy, and you can see it has this beautiful, and they keep coming out like really bold, and then they go to a softer color. They're so beautiful, but you can see how tall and lanky this is.
So
could we have snipped it and had it bushed out more early on? Yes. But you can see down here, even when you plant this, look at all that new growth coming. And it will form new growth all the way through, and this will actually become a nice, really big, full plant.
You can see the difference in where we may have trimmed this, and it's getting that growth from under here, and it's going, kind of laterally, that sideways, where this grew up straight. We had a lot of these pot tights, so they were stretching, but it is a much different.
This one also gets 24 inches tall, which we're well beyond that, and this one only gets 14 to 18.
So with a tall series of dahlias, adding a little stake, or this is a little bamboo stake to help keep it upright, you might need that, or just something to
give it some support initially.
Yeah, especially in wind. So if you have the taller series, we don't need that with this. This is the Figaro series, and they bush out, and they're only going to get so tall. But with the taller series, yeah, go ahead and maybe stake them
up. And these will bush out even more. It's just like you said, they've been a little bit more pot tight.
So those are a few of the care items for dahlias.
Also the powdery mildew.
Okay. Yeah.
That does set into dahlias fairly quick.
And especially with overwatering them,
right.
if they get too wet, that can really set in. So there are sprays for powdery mildew that will help take that, and be sure that sometimes the calcium in the water, or even when they're being fertilized, that can sit on the leaves, but that's not powdery mildew. That's not what we're talking about. So you'll be able to tell. It actually have start with brown spots also, and that's where you can get into trouble. Watch your watering getting on the leaves. Try to get down towards that soil, and again, as we said, don't overwater them. Try to stay a little, if you're going to err on the side of being just a little bit drier, so you don't do what I did. it's hard. It's hard in the greenhouse, but yeah, they definitely stay a little bit drier with the dahlias. Okay, I think that's all we have.
Yeah,
as
so
far as,
great for fresh cut flowers to clip them off, put them in the house, or have them out in the garden. Their heat, they can handle that higher heat, which is great because a lot of people have that full sun.
Yeah.
So they can handle that.
And then when you roll forward into those late fall months, and we want to save our dahlia. So if you are a saver, yes, you can save your dahlias. They're not perennials, meaning we can't just leave them in the ground and they'll come back the next year. Not in our neck of the woods for sure. But you can save the tubers. Tubers are those little potato-like looking things. That's the roots. That's what the dahlia is coming from, the plant. So the process of saving those tubers and bringing back your dahlia year to year, after that first hard freeze and this plant is done, just let it sit in the ground for about a week. Okay, and then in about a week, we're gonna go through and cut. So we're gonna cut this right down leave about 1 inch of that stem, that main stem sitting up. Just go through, cut that whole thing. Give it another week. You'll have time, okay? And then after that week has passed, go through and dig this plant up, and what you're gonna do is shake off all that soil and find that tuber, and that's what you need. And so shake all that soil off, go ahead and put that in a brown paper bag, put it in your basement, or if you have maybe a cool garage that's not freezing, somewhere where it's cool, dark, whatever, then you can save those tubers over the winter. And then in that following spring, go ahead and plant them after we're in the free and clear of having frost and freezing weather. Then you can go ahead and plant them in the spring again and have your dahlias come right on back.
Beautiful. And then you get to pick the colors that you like.
Yeah.
So
like,
pick them this year and be like,
beautiful.
I love this one.
Yeah. So that's your dahlia care. We love them. Our customers are loving them. There's
that
reason.
burgundy color that's way over there. I pulled a bunch of them and I couldn't decide which ones to show. Gorgeous. And there's only so much you can handle.
Yeah, very good. I'm gonna put it right up front.
Look at those. Aren't they so beautiful?
Yeah, and again, this is the Figaro series. We grow a lot of these.
Yes.
So, all right. So, talking about our Beat Your Neighbor Fertilizer, we have a new retailer that we want to announce, and that's 5 Seeds Greenhouse in Big Rapids, Michigan. So, they are one of our new retailers of our Beat Your Neighbor Fertilizer. Again, if you're raising dahlias, you're going to be using the Beat Your Neighbor Fertilizer at least once a week. And yes, you can fertilize multiple times a week. That's not going to hurt them. Just keep it the same strength, and you can. We try to remind people that Fertilizer Friday, that's a great way to remember that they're feeding at least once a week. But yeah, you can bump that up to multiple times a week, especially if you have, this time of year, people have parties or graduation parties going on.
They have special events that they want to make sure that it looks good for.
Yeah, for that summer. And yeah, you can fertilize multiple times a week to really get those flowers going and really push that growth and get some nice, big, beautiful flowers. That's what you want. So,
yes.
So, all right. Thank you for joining us.
Have a good day.
Bye-bye.